rent free. Rent free. Rent free. Lives in your head rent free. Rent free. Rent free. Rent free. Lives in your head rent free.
What's up, everybody? This is your main man, Tech Supreme, back with another episode of Rent Free with Tech Supreme. Hope you guys had a good couple of weeks. I didn't do a podcast last week, I think. I'm not sure. Pretty sure I didn't do one last week. But we're back now, and we're about to go on a trip. So, you know how I do. So, there's going to be another episode next week, though. We get back next week, so I have time to do another episode. So, hope all is well. I only got a few topics today. So, buckle up and let's get to it. Now, this weekend is my birthday falls on Tuesday next week. So obviously, I can't celebrate the week after, right? So it's almost in the middle of the week, but I can't celebrate the week after because the week after my birthday is always 4th of July. So obviously I got to celebrate the weekend before. And so me, my wife, and our home girl we're going to New Orleans for basically just a long weekend. We leave during the weekend, Saturday, come back during the week. I'm super excited. Now, this is, I think, my 4th time going to New Orleans. And the reason why I'm excited is because the last time I went was 2 years ago for my 40th. Went with a bunch of people, maybe six people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 or 7 people. It was a great time, right? I had some of my closest favorite people in the world with me. This time we're going with a much smaller group, which allows us the opportunity to actually stay on Bourbon Street, which I've never done before. And we actually have a balcony on Bourbon Street in one of the busiest portions of Bourbon Street. So I'm super excited. I don't think we're going to get a lot of sleep because we are. But I mean, we're going to be hearing the sounds all, of Bourbon Street, of the French Quarters. So I'm just super excited to see what it's like. A lot of people go down there to drink. I don't think it's the greatest place to drink, and definitely not French Quarters. The French Quarters and Bourbon Street is definitely not a great place to drink. The reason why I say that is because I don't drink sugars. Like, I don't drink sugary drinks. I do drink soda, but it's like 0 calories soda, like 0 sugar soda. But when I consume alcohol, I don't want sugar bombs. And if you've ever been to New Orleans, I gotta make sure I say it right. If you've ever been to New Orleans and you've had like a hurricane or a hand grenade, then you know that it's just a thing of sugar. And I'm not into it. So my main reason for going is I love to people watch. I love to be around people. I love music. I love live music, and I love the food in New Orleans. I always, ever since maybe the second time I've gone, I was lucky enough. The second time I think was with my wife now, but we were just dating then. We had got a list of places to go from Rick, who is the owner of Grace Meat and 3, and we hit a lot of those spots up. But that kind of got me into the groove of when I go out of town and I go on these trips or whatever to different cities. I write down where I went. I try to get the website. And I write down what I had and how I felt about it. I wasn't doing a number scale, but I was doing like just quick emoji, like, oh, this was fire, or this was thumbs down, or something like that. And so I usually always do that and always take pictures. So that was something that I started the second time we went, and so the third time we already had our list of places that we wanted to check out, and then we added more to it. And I always, even though I've been 4 times, or this is my 4th time, I always ask people like, hey, what's your favorite New Orleans spot? Like, what's your hidden gem? So with that, we got a strong list going. I'm super excited. We already have our kind of go-tos that we go to. Mambo's being one of them. We fell in love with Mambo's last time we went. I think we had it twice, and we're going to definitely have it this weekend for sure. Some meal, we're going to have it. And the crazy part is that I'm super excited about it. It's like, we're just like a block and a half away from it. Like, we're just like right there in the middle of the action. I can't wait. I understand that New Orleans, like Bourbon Street, and French Quarter in general, is kind of like a tourist spot. I get it. I'm a tourist. I like it, so super excited about the trip. Super excited about just the whole like turning 42. I wanted to speak on how I feel about turning 42. Turning 30 was huge. Turning 40 was huge. And now I'm just like in this like kind of existential panic about turning 50. I know I have 8 years to go. But it's something that's in the back of your mind as you age. I will say that the alternative to not aging is far worse than aging. So I'm proud to age. I'm proud to be like at 42, be a lot more secure. Definitely like I'm happy that I have my wife. Like that's probably like the number one thing. She's definitely like my rock. So like that's awesome. But just like being like just more stable in life all overall, and like having the ability to be just to go out of town and to do these fun things and like to survive and just be well, and then be in a position to to do things, do certain things, like be involved in the community. I'm getting ready to go back to teaching music in schools, which shout out to Breach League and Ronnie Notch and DJ Epic for that, for all that. And it's just like so much good things happening that like my health is straight. Like my eye health, my teeth health, my body health. I stay current on all my on my checkups and on my doctor visits. It's amazing to be in this point of life, because I don't think I would have foresaw that at a younger age. And that's, to me, is what success is. I'm good. You know what I mean? Good relationships. Up and downs with like certain friend groups and things like that. And sometimes you gotta cut people out, and you have to kind of protect your own peace, and like create the boundaries. And like if someone like crosses that boundary, understand how to react and how to move around that, because people will, no matter what, people will get comfortable with you to test your boundaries. And like you can't live your life letting people step over you. Like you're gonna be Tyrone Lue of life. You know what I mean? Like if you know sports, you know that reference, right? Like don't let people step over you. Turning 40, man, 42. It's super exciting, super blessed. I mean, I'm not really religious at all, and I don't believe in blessings and non-blessings. But so, for lack of a better word, I say blessed. But like basically, that's my way of saying the universe has sown fortune to me. It's a deeper, but it is what it is. Turning 42 is exciting. It's nervous. It's anxious, but like that's life, man. Time keeps going, and just every day is I'm just happy to be here, and like I know we all are. So shout out to everyone, basically. Like shout out to the world. Now there's 5 people who aren't here anymore, and it's captivated the world. Like this news story. You literally, I don't know anyone who hasn't heard about this. Like I can't open Twitter, TikTok, none of that without seeing news about the submersive vessel. Everyone's calling it the submarine, but it's a submersive vessel. Same difference, but obviously submarines are propelled, or a little bit more complex than what it's. Basically, they went down in a carbon fiber tube and died. 5 people, rich. The only one I feel bad for is there was a kid on there. His dad is a billionaire, and I feel bad. I take that with a grain of salt, because we eat the rich. I feel bad because he didn't want to go. It comes to find out today that it comes out like his mom was like, he didn't want to go. The only reason he went is because it was his dad wanted to go, and it was over Father's Day weekend. But I think he probably had a gut instinct that this is not a good idea. The only solace in this is that they died quickly, right? So basically, I'm not going to recap the story, because if you don't know about the sub story, then that's I don't know what to tell you. You live under a rock. But they went down, it imploded. We didn't know what happened for days. And it's so weird, because like the Coast Guard and the government, they're like, oh yeah, we knew immediately. Our sonar radar picked up an implosion. Whatever. Like you could have said that shit last week. You could have said that shit on Monday or whatever. It's tragic. But it's tragic, but okay, like, is it funny? A little bit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know, like, I don't laugh at death, right? Especially after what I just said at turning 42. I don't laugh at death. Like, I don't think death is funny. Death is scary. But I think the reason why people are making so many jokes about it is because the circumstances in which they perished. Not the exact circumstances, but like the choice they made, right? Like, no one in their right mind thinks, if you had even just an inkling of science, think that this is a good idea. Especially when a year ago, a news report on television came out about this company and how, oh, this looks jerry-rigged. That you're running it with a controller. There's only one button. okay, if I'm spending, I can't, most can't, but if I were to spend $250,000 on a trip, I would have to believe in my heart of hearts that my $250,000 didn't cost more than, wasn't more money than they spent building what's going to take me 3 miles underwater. Now, sure, could it have cost more than $250,000? Sure. He used carbon fiber and titanium. Carbon fiber is known to be defected over time, where steel wouldn't be. Lot of red flags already, right? My number one red flag is you're using a Logitech controller to navigate this thing. That's not good enough for scary old me. I will not even get into no one's ever asked me to get into a private jet, but if they did, I would be apprehensive. And that's just because I don't like seeing people in small planes fall out the sky. And we've heard stories, right? I'm a fan of Aaliyah. I don't want to get into a small plane now. I'm definitely not going to get into a carbon fiber vessel that you have to sit Indian style. I got bad knees, turning 42. And then like controlled by a Logitech controller. It's not even, I don't even think Logitech makes the greatest products, and I have two in front of me. I just would not trust it. But also, I don't have $250,000, so I can't really say that. So if someone who is rich and $250,000 is just a drop in the bucket, your logic's not there. And I think that's why people are making fun of it, because like you're supposed to be like, they kind of make people who are rich seem smarter, and you see this all the time in social media, because you'll get someone who gets successful. I think it was Gary Vee. I love Gary Vee. I even have one of his books, and it's just like they get on podcasts and they talk all this shit now that they're successful about what you could do different. Like, oh, if you wake up at 2:00 in the morning, you're gonna be successful. Like, you're just gatekeeping. You got successful off of whatever, like your parents, whatever. You did something good. Hey, more power to you. Yeah, it is what it is. But there's nothing really like people gonna make jokes about it because it's rich people and nobody cares. To be completely 100. It is what it is, man. It's tragedy. Yes, I feel bad. One thing that's really weird about it though is the kid, one of the kids, the stepson of one of the billionaires, is like, he went to a Blink-182 concert, so that made the news. But then he had some racist responses, saying the N-word and stuff like that, and then people dug deeper into his history. There was a tons of like racism that he was spewing, and then like a little bit of sexism too. Like he had this weird obsession with Alice in Wonderland, which is one of my favorite producers, singers, artists from Australia who lives in America now. I think she's from Australia, but she's super talented, super amazing. But he had like an Alice in Wonderland tattoo, and then like she didn't acknowledge it online or something like that. But she's like famous, so like why would she? And he like just went on some crazy tirade. Weird, super weird energy, but again, there's a lot. The jokes are just writing themselves with this one, and it's hard not to make fun of it. It really is. It at the same time, but two things can happen at the same time, right? It could be a tragedy, but people can still make fun of it. It's just what it is. And is it distasteful? I'm not sure. Sure, to the family it is, but like, if anyone I know did that, I'd be like, yeah, you're dumb. So, just there's nothing really. I don't know. Not too much you can say about it. Moving on to something that's lighter, I guess. Saw the Flash movie last week. Came out last week. Saw it last Wednesday or Thursday. Took my dad for Father's Day. So we saw it pretty early, like 3:00 on the first day it came out. It's a good movie to look at, but it's not really a good movie as far as like being a diehard fan. But I'm not a diehard Flash fan anyway. I found Ezra Miller to be problematic, as like most people have, so kind of had a hard time watching it. And the only reason why I did watch it was because they had Michael Keaton in it, and I'm a huge Michael Keaton fan. My first movie experience that I can actually remember was going to see Batman in 1989. I was 8 years old, and me and my dad and my brother, we went to Manhattan to watch it, which I didn't know we went to Manhattan. I thought we were in New Jersey because I was 8. But my dad told me last week that we were in actually Manhattan watching it, which was super cool. That my first movie experience was not only Batman, which my dad also told me that at that point I was already a diehard comic book fan. But to see it in Manhattan, such a cool place and such a beautiful city, and it was super. I loved, it's like seeing Gotham in Manhattan. It just bodes. It just feels good for the story, the setting of me watching Batman. So my biggest takeaway was Batman. Michael Keaton was fantastic. It wasn't even a movie with heart or energy or anything. It was just fan service, as far as like, here's like, we'll just do some things for the like that fans would be happy with. They kind of feel like they didn't even really develop a story. They kind of just wanted to compete with Marvel, which is kind of their downfall. So they didn't really start with a good story. It wasn't a good, like, Flashpoint Paradox is such an amazing story, and this movie is not that, even though it takes notes from it. It feels like they just wanted to make some money, and they wanted to do something that fans wouldn't slam. We're not going to slam Michael Keaton, and they know that. One of my favorite parts of the movie was Sasha Calle. She plays Supergirl, which they probably should change it to Superwoman by now. But she was fantastic. I want to see more of her as Supergirl. I would have loved to see her, Henry Cavill, and her interact. She was flawless as Superwoman, Supergirl. I don't know what to call her. I think the character is called Supergirl. Let me double check that. Yeah, it's Supergirl, Kara Zor-El, which I actually like the Supergirl show on CW. It was really fire. Yeah, just, it's gonna be a flop. It's gonna be a dud. DC just needs to stop. They need to stop. And I know they got the James Gunn thing going on, but they need to stop until that's a thing, right? They need to stop don't put out Aquaman, don't put out Blue Beetle. And then the directors of Blue Beetle this week said that their movie is a part of the next phase, and we know it's not. Come on, get it. Come on. We know it's not. It's just a big money grab trick. Just stop it. Let James Gunn fix it, but stop trying to money grab us. Flash was a money grab. Aquaman 2 is gonna be a money grab. Aquaman 1 is not even, for me, that great. And I'm not like trying to be overly negative about DC movies, because I'm a diehard Man of Steel like defender. I think Man of Steel was amazing. I fucked with Batman versus Superman. I fucked with Zack Snyder's Justice League. I fucked with what Zack Snyder was doing. I wanted that to be like the basis of the universe, and then they could have gone off and done another thing. What Marvel did was they let Jon Favreau set the tone, and then he was the one who kind of like ushered in the universe, and like, just let Zack Snyder usher in the universe. It's different than Marvel. It was different than Marvel, and it had its own tone, and that's what it needed. There was nothing wrong with that. Now, I think a lot of the pressure of DC was from fans who were like kind of shitting on it because of like the Marvel comparison. But Man of Steel, watch it now. It's pretty flawless. The only dumb part is Jonathan Kent sacrificing himself when his son could have saved him. That was so stupid. But that's neither here nor there. So Flash is a good movie. Go watch it. It's decent. It's mid. It's in the middle. It's not phenomenal. It's not garbage. Ezra Miller is a little bit annoying. I don't really fuck with him like that. It's interesting to see what happens with Jonathan Majors. His trial is set for August. The reason why I say that is because you have a problematic comic book superstar, and Ezra Miller's problematic superstar. Ezra Miller did more stuff than Jonathan Majors, like factually, right? Like, Jonathan Majors had one incident. Ezra Miller had several abusive incidents, and even maybe some allegations of sexual misconduct. Not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. But it's interesting to see how they try to cancel Majors, and they did not cancel Miller. They didn't cancel him. Like, his movie just dropped last week. He's not canceled. He's fine. He's still getting that money. And did it affect sales? I'm not sure. I guess it's something that we need to. It's kind of hard to see like why someone didn't go see a movie, right? Like, was it Ezra Miller's behavior? Was it DC's movie's reputation? What is it? You know what I mean? So time will tell. Moving on, Secret Invasion came out this week. Marvel's new Disney Plus show. Basically, Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, is a conspiracy spy type. Think Black Widow. Think not Civil War, but the Winter Soldier. That type of tone. It's so far so good. First episode is good. Emilia Clarke's in it, which is she played Daenerys Targaryen in Game of Thrones. Sign me up. The villain, he did something in the first episode that set a tone, and that tone is like, yo, this dude is serious. He don't give a fuck about nothing. The fact that it makes sense why Nick Fury doesn't call any heroes for this. It's because like this is a huge, massive threat, and like the Secret Invasion, you don't know who to trust. So it'd be kind of crazy if, I mean, they could do a lot with Secret Invasion, which they did in the comic books. They could do a lot, like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but they could do a lot of like retconning. This person's a scroll. This person's a scroll. Because in the comic books, they took on superheroes forms, and like, yeah, that wasn't Captain America, if you get what I'm saying. And you know, that might not have been Iron Man, like, if you get what I'm saying. So Secret Invasion, man, the Scrolls, the storyline is going to be chef's kiss. They just know what they're doing. They I don't know if it's because they were first, because they weren't really first, but they were the first one to say, okay, we're going to do one universe. I don't know what it is, but like, their execution on these creatives is pretty flawless. um She-Hulk aside, I love She-Hulk, but people hated it for whatever reason. CGI issues or whatever. And I admit the CGI was a little but the story was great. I'm a big She-Hulk fan. One of my first comics collections was She-Hulk. So yeah, man, Secret Invasion, check it out if you haven't watched on Disney Plus. Comes out once a week. Super good stuff so far. Super heavy. And Samuel L. Jackson, man, like he's such a legend, bro. Like Samuel L. Jackson is him. He's that guy. So I fucks with him. Now, is Marvel perfect? No, Marvel Studios is perfect. But Marvel, they don't own Spider-Man, right? We know this. So they don't own Spider-Man villains. So who owns Spider-Man villains for movie sakes? It's going to be Sony, I believe, right? And one of my favorite comic book runs is this Todd McFarlane run in the 90s. I think over there, like sitting over there, I have like 1 through 25 or something like that. It was this amazing fucking story. And for like the first, I don't know how many issues, like quite a few issues, you didn't know who was fucking Spider-Man up, but it was Kraven the Hunter. And ever since then, I became a huge fan of Kraven. And they released the trailer for Kraven the Hunter, which comes out in October. Sony, you are butchering Marvel Comics characters. You're making it harder for Marvel Studios to fix this mess. It's just like the kid in class who keeps breaking rules, and everyone's good in class. Everyone's good except for this kid. But then they got to punish the whole class. And that's what Sony's doing with Spider-Man and Marvel. I'm not sure if they're not doing this on purpose, bro. Like this trailer, and I'm not the type of person who likes to be negative, right? I'm an opinionated person, right? We all are to an extent. But man, this fucking trailer looks so bad. And then like they hired Aaron Taylor Johnson, who played Quicksilver in the MCU, and like it's just nothing about this is Kraven the Hunter, and it's kind of infuriating. I don't want him in leopard pants, but he has to look better. He has to look the part, right? Like it don't feel right. And then the origin story, they kind of briefly talked about it. Sure, I'm just not enthused about it. And check out the trailer if you like Spider-Man stuff. You like Marvel stuff, I would say avoid. This looks as bad as Mobius. At least Mobius had good graphics almost. I thought it was kind of cool, like the phasing thing that they were doing, the flying thing. It ended up being stupid and they changed their own physics like halfway through the movie. But at least I don't know. I can't say anything. I haven't seen Kraven the Hunter yet. I'm gonna go see it because I have to, as a comic book nerd. I have to, but I'm not excited about it. October 6th, we'll see. Let's get away from that topic. Speaking of bad TV, bad movies, bad entertainment, I am sucked in, and this is gonna be like, if you know me, this is left field. You're not gonna understand this. I'm sucked into Vanderpump Rules. I don't know how this happened. Well, I know how it happened. My wife, she watches Vanderpump Rules, and our homegirl and her another homegirl, they started talking about it, and then it snowballed into them coming over and watching the reunion show. And then I was kind of like just kind of floating around the house, and I stopped in and looked at it and watched some of it. And I had seen some of it before because I know Tom Sandoval's from St. Louis. It's entertaining. So I started watching it, and then I was like, well, if I'm gonna watch Vanderpump Rules, I'm gonna watch fucking Vanderpump Rules. So now I'm on episode 7, season 2. There's 10 seasons. I got a lot of catching up to do, but it's mindless and it's entertaining and it's crazy, it's cringy, it's all the things. I think you have to have time for intellectual cool stuff. Like I'm about to go see Oppenheimer next month or whenever it comes out. The intellectual layered stuff, and it's cool to watch dumb stuff. And Vanderpump Rules, they may take themselves very seriously. and that's fine. It's their lives. I'm sure it's somewhat scripted. It's just fun. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun. So yeah, I'm watching Vanderpump Rules. Never thought I'd ever say that, and I'm invested into it too. Like it's just crazy. And I got a homegirl who moved to LA, so now every time I see the show, I'm like, is this how she lives out in LA? Just going to parties and arguing and like navigating, trying to make it out there. It's a lot. It's a lot. Um, yeah. I think my teeth look a little whiter. Last episode I talked about the teeth whitening. I just noticed that my teeth, because I got the screens up here, I can see myself. And I got a viewfinder up there, which I'm trying not to look at the viewfinder. Like, I don't know if you can tell a difference, but if you're listening to on audio, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think, the teeth whitening works. I need to do it some more, but I can definitely see a difference. So if you think about teeth whitening, go on ahead with it. Last topic is Juneteenth was this past Monday. Um, you know, I like the fact that it's becoming more of a thing. I feel like it needs to be a national holiday where everyone gets off work. Um, hopefully, I mean, hopefully one day we get to that. Not too much to say about it. I'm not a big fan of like Walmart selling Juneteenth ice cream and companies trying to cash in on it, but that's inevitable. It is what it is. I'm looking forward to the flag growing. I posted the flag. I don't think a lot of people know how the flag. It's a really cool like story too about so I think there's a star in it that represents the United States. There's kind of a bigger star with like a lot of more angles and I don't know how to say points, which represents like the new hope, and then the horizon about being something new. It's a really dope flag. So I look forward to in the future Juneteenth becoming just bigger and bigger and bigger, and celebrations becoming bigger, and like cookouts becoming a thing. I don't think it'll ever, there's too many racist people for it to ever be as big or even half as big as 4th of July, which is just honestly a few weeks later. But that's not really our day of independence. Yeah, it's Juneteenth would be closer to it, but it's more like be aware too of like the deception of our country. The fact that slaves were freed in 1863, but then it didn't take till 1865 before other outside forces had to tell them they were free, because the people who were benefiting from it refused to tell them that they were free. That's crazy. But that's the reason why we celebrate Juneteenth, because of that deception. And it started in Galveston, Texas. So that and just being aware. And the one thing that irks me, and I'm gonna get out of here, is the bastardization of woke. Right? As a black person, we've been saying woke for years, like, "Hey, bro, stay woke," which means to be aware of the social, what the world is doing to us. Be aware of what society is treating black people. And honestly, it ties into Juneteenth because they had to be like, it was kept a secret that they were free. You feel me? So like, when they actually became free in 1865, I could honestly see, like, stay woke, like stay aware of what they're lying to you about. You know what I mean? Like, it's now become a right weapon, and like being inclusive means you're woke, and there's anti-woke, which is the dumbest thing in the world. Like, how could you be anti-inclusion? I don't understand it, but just it is what it is. But make no mistakes, when they say anti-woke, that means anti-black. Make no mistake about it. And anti-inclusion now, because like now they've used it to bring in other groups. So like, just got to be aware, man. And we need a new term, because they took that, but like they can't just keep taking shit, man. I saw this one thing that said it was a company, and I believe it's a company, right? And they're not a black company, but they had this post on an ad, and it was a white woman in a t-shirt that says, "You're lucky women want equality and not revenge," which is literally a quote from the police brutality protest in response to George Floyd. And the black women said that so beautifully and passionately, and they took that and put that on a t-shirt for money. And then, so I reported it, which doesn't mean anything, but then like I made a post on it like, "Yo, y'all just gonna take this?" And then they went ahead and took the post down and reposted it and disabled comments, because they don't want to hear about it. They just want to get that money. It is what it is. I just said that was my last thing. I do want to say that I'm rocking beads now. I'm a part of the bead gang. I love it. I got like a ton of beads upstairs. My wife's like, "Where did this come from?" Um, yeah, I've seen a lot of people wear rock beads, and now I'm a part of the bead gang. But that's neither here nor there. I'm out of here. Tech Supreme, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you like it, follow, hit the like button on YouTube videos, hit the subscribe button. We are growing. We're going to start doing some advertising soon, so look forward to that. And, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the episodes. I need feedback. So thank you again. I want you to be safe, mind your surroundings, stay woke, and Tech Supreme, rent free. Peace.
Rent free. Rent free. Rent free. Lives in your head rent free. Rent free. Rent free. Rent free. Lives in your head rent free.